going, while they're coping with that and the criminal aspects of Biden and Trump and whatnot, there's been kind of a wild ride here with the far right media. So I don't know if you remember, Fox was about a year ago. They got tagged with a 700 and something $1 million settlement for lying about the election being stolen. So they had to pay that off, and so they've been trying to be somewhat more cautious since then. But they've also been sued before, like Tucker Carlson and whatnot. They've had to admit that most of their programming is not news; it's just for entertainment, and no reasonable person would believe the things they say. That's what they pled in court to try and get out of some of this, and they did. But the more right-wing people that they've kind of pushed on and worked with going forward, they've had some hard times befall them recently. Let's jump into... I don't know if you remember Alex Jones. Alex Jones was the big far-right guy. Had, InfoWars was the name of his show. It was like fucking 5 hours a day. And he'd get on there and spin all these conspiracy theories. And Trump had been on his show a couple times, and he was real close to Trump, and he'd spin all these conspiracy theories and whatnot, and Trump would repeat them. And anyway, he had this whole conspiracy theory that the Sandy Hook incident where the children were shot by the lone shooter, that was all a deep fake by the government, and it was all made up, and that nobody really died. And the parents of all these deceased kids then got death threats and harassment from his viewers. And then they sued him for defamation and all this shit. And really horrendous case, which he lost. And I think damages were like billions. So he's that. But finally a judge has allowed them to seize his assets. So I'm going to go into this as the Young Turks. And they're going to cover this real quick because Alex Jones had a real hard time because now they're going after everything he owns. Plus, his future earnings will now go to them to pay this off.
Oh.
Yeah. Resisted converting his personal bankruptcy into a Chapter 7 liquidation. That has changed. A lot has seemingly changed for him financially, emotionally. Here he is sort of working through his current circumstances.
I've had secret federal filings follow me that I'm committing crimes, referred to the Justice Department, which of course wasn't true. We'd already filed it in federal court months before. They didn't even checked it. If you're going to frame somebody and lie about them to damn federal court with the know it's already filed in court, you bastard. So you. And anybody else that tries to go on your... You want war, you've got it. We're going to beat these people. Now I try to be dramatic here, but it's been a hard fight.
Look, as far as...
So he's ruined. And that's him at his most presentable. That's him on a first date. That's him meeting your parents for the first time.
Wow.
He's ruined. And
honestly, I don't blame him for crying because, like...
Oh, this is it.
That'd be a real breakdown moment for sure.
Well, and people don't... I remember this when I was a little kid. We used to, in Oregon where I live, there used to be a lot of neo-Nazis. A lot of KKK in the Pacific Northwest area. That's kind of gone away for the most part in the last, 30, 40 years. But there was an instance where an Ethiopian man was killed, and it turned out the guy who was responsible had a newspaper, I think it was called like the Daily Stormer or something like that. I can't remember what it was. But they didn't get him for the murder, even though he didn't kill him. His followers did, right? But what they did was the family was able to sue him for inciting that, and they took all of his money and all of his, pretty much his future earnings. And you never heard from him again. And that's kind of what happened to Alex Jones here. So, Alex Jones, bye-bye. So he's not going to be around to help Trump for the election cycle. So that's a bummer. What else have we got? Here we go. The Epoch Times, which is a right-wing newspaper that had a ton of money given to them. Well, they're a financial officer who was affiliated with Shen Yun, which is the little musical thing. I've seen it. It's, you can skip it. They was charged with laundering $67 million. So the Epoch Times is now in trouble. Bill Guan, chief financial officer of the Epoch Times, has been charged with participating in a transactional scheme to launder at least approximately $60 million of illegally obtained funds to benefit himself and the media company. So their whole company has been funded by right-wing money, and now money that they've gotten from ill-gotten gains. So illegal money.
Wow.
So they're now trashed and in the tank. I don't know that they're going to survive this. Probably not. So we're skipping along. So Alex Jones off the board. Epoch Times off. These are huge players. Millions of people watch these people. Huge players. Remember, Trump had that whole election scam thing, and he talked about this. There was a movie called 2,000 Mules, and it was done by a guy named Dinesh D'Souza, who's also a former convicted felon for, I think, campaign fraud. And he did this
Wow,
movie.
the whole gang here, the whole gang.
The whole fucking gig. That's what I'm saying. And he did this movie about how the whole 2020 election was all rigged. And the movie was debunked, but it's gotten worse for him now because this happened.
A big story that broke late Friday that got lost in all the Trump trial coverage. Salem Media Group, a conservative media giant, just issued an apology and retraction of the highly promoted and debunked Dinesh D'Souza documentary 2,000 Mules, which the company co-produced. The movie that had been debunked again and again claimed it had proof that the 2020 election was stolen from Donald Trump, and they were insistent that the film proved it.
They have ruined Election Day in the United States of America. That's provable, and that's enough for me.
And it wasn't provable. The whole thing was debunked, and now they've had to pull the movie. They can't sell them anymore. Can't distribute it. The whole thing was bullshit. And Trump used to talk about this movie in his speeches. You'd see interviews, and people would be like, well, did you see 2,000 Mules? And nope. Not only is it bullshit, it's such bullshit they had to pull it. So
Wow.
So that's crap. So wow, what else? I mean, could there be any more going on? Potentially, I don't know. How about Steve Bannon, who has his big podcast where he's a big Trump supporter? Well, Steve Bannon, who's been narrowly avoiding jail, he was convicted a while ago, and he was trying to appeal, lost the appeal. Now, this happened.
Just a few minutes ago, a federal judge ordered former Trump advisor Steve Bannon to report to prison by July 1st to serve his 4-month prison sentence. Bannon was hoping to stay out of prison as he appealed his conviction for contempt of Congress. CNN's Sarah Murray's following the story from the courthouse. Sarah, tell us how this all went down.
Well, before we get into Sarah here, so Steve Bannon, July 1st, he's got to go to prison. So he won't be doing his podcast and his media shit for, let's see, July, August, September, October. When's the election? Oh, yeah, early November. So he's off the board. Plus, while he's in jail, he's got another trial for, he did the Build the Wall scam, and,
Right.
And didn't build the wall, and he got all this money from the Trump supporters. And I think that it was him. Correct me if I'm wrong, everybody. I think this was him. He got busted. He was on a yacht of some millionaire, and he got busted by the post office police. People don't know this. The post office has their own police force. They're pretty badass. So the post office busted it. Yeah. So he got tagged. So he's going to trial for that criminal charge. And guess who the criminal judge is who's hearing that in New York? Rashawn, the same judge who just heard the trial that convicted Trump. Same judge.
Oh, man.
Rashawn has got to be sick
Wow.
of it. And he heard the Trump criminal trial on, the Trump Organization criminal trial, like whatever it is, a year or so. He's got to be fucking sick of these people coming in and out of his courtroom at this point. So that's what's going on.
Oh, my gosh. He's going to be like, if I never hear a word about any of this stuff ever again, it'll be too soon.
Yeah, so it's like we've said before, it's all lies and bullshit. It's a 7-layer dip of stupidity and bullshit. It's just bullshit, stupidity, idiocy, yada, 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 and then I think they top it with mayonnaise. And that's the whole fucking deal, I mean. But they're all going down. It's all the sinking ship. I mean, it's just amazing. And it still shocks me that they're as close as they are in the polls. I mean, Biden's up now, but, I don't typically trust the polls until you get to, like, August or September when everybody checks in. But we'll see how that goes. But, yeah.